Welcome to Home Equity Secrets. I'm Carl Christian, CEO of the Nice Agent Co. Join me as we reveal how to learn to earn through smart homeownership. Discover expert insights, practical advice, and inspiring stories on turning your home into a powerful financial asset. Whether you are a first-time home buyer or a seasoned investor, let's unlock your home's true potential together. Welcome to Home Equity Secrets. Welcome to Home Equity Secrets. My name is Carl Christian. I'm the broker of the Nice Agent Company. We are here to teach you and everything you could learn about home equity, what you could do with it, how you could use it. Some people just have it sit in their house. Some people use it and turn it into wealth. Today, we have Marcel with us, and I'm not going to talk about Marcel because he has so much to share that I want him to actually tell me. Marcel, tell the people who you are. What do you do? Let's talk, man.
Hey, everybody. Marcel Iglesias. I'm a real estate agent based out of South Florida. And originally, my background, just without getting too deep into it, I was in the tech space for early on in my career, and then specifically as an engineer. And then I eventually evolved into sales and marketing roles. And that allowed me to eventually get into the real estate side. But yeah, so if you have any tech questions, I'm a good person to ask. Whole IoT things, homes, all that stuff.
Well, my first question is always gonna be the one I just asked you. Like, how does somebody make that change? Because now it's all about tech. It's all about everybody's AI this, AI that, and then here you are. You actually left the field and go completely the opposite way to work with people instead. So what's going on?
Yeah, well, I've always kind of worked with people, but it was more business to business. You know what I mean? Versus business to consumer. So I think that's the biggest shift that I've seen is just the working with everyday people versus working with entrepreneurs and executives and that sort of thing. So at the end of the day, people are people. but yeah, so it's been a fun journey so far.
But let me ask you, is there anything you're missing from being an engineer contrary to being a realtor?
I would definitely say just the consistency in terms of the salaries. So I think that's probably the thing that you miss the most. Every week or every month or whatever,
something is coming in.
Whatever, what's coming. Yeah. Obviously with real estate, it's completely different. Market dependent, pipeline dependent. So it's just yeah.
It is where, unfortunately, most agents fail, and they all have issues doing this because it's very difficult for them to switch their mind from that employee mindset to now you're an entrepreneur. Yeah. You have to basically hunt for you to eat. And well, I've seen them where they struggle a lot because they're just waiting to see who's going to feed them the next deal instead of them hunting for it. So yes, I'm very happy that you actually made the switch, and obviously the mindset has changed also, which is my next question. Yeah. How difficult was it to switch that mindset?
That's a good question. A lot of the stuff I was doing in tech, even though I was getting a salary, I was working with teams that were like, we were launching new products and that sort of thing. So even though we had new salaries, we were still kind of like in a gray area. There was a lot of things that weren't really defined, but the difference was there was team structure to it versus now, I don't really have a team structure. It's just me and some of the other people that I work with around me. So yeah, I guess it's a little bit different, but yeah. So as far as generating your own business, and it's like any business, right? It's like you're responsible for everything. Lead generation really being the most important one. So developing relationships and all that sort of thing, and just being consistent with it over time and not chasing all the next thing, you know what I mean? And just trying to make things work. So anyway, just trying to be consistent with the business and just trying to make sure you're growing and learning in the process.
So for the homeowners that are listening to us, Marcel, I would like to ask you a question. How do you help homeowners maintain or use the home equity that they built over the years? Let's say the question that I ask all my guests, I ask them other question. Imagine that you have a couple, they have two toddlers, and they're sitting on a home that has $500,000 equity. What would you advise them?
It's an interesting question. So I got to be careful with that, I guess, giving a response, right? Because I'm a licensed real estate agent. I'm not a certified CPA or any of that sort of CFA or any of that sort of thing, right? So just whatever answer I would provide, I would definitely suggest that they check with a CPA or CPA or some financial
Love the
expert or whatever.
disclaimer.
But you know, yeah. What's that?
I love the disclaimer. Perfect.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I think there's so many different ways that you could use home equity. It just depends on every individual and particular situation. So, I mean, I think probably the biggest opportunity is with right now with so much credit card debt that's out there, right? We're above $1 trillion, which is pretty insane. So that's probably, but I would say that maybe that'd be one area opportunity to talk to your CFA or whatever about what you could do with that, right? Because when you're paying 23% on credit cards, you can go out and get a HELOC and you can probably help pay out that debt a lot quicker by doing something like that. So that would just
I
be like
totally
just
agree with
one,
you. I do agree because it's investing is not for everybody. Buying
yeah,
3, 4, 5 home is not for everybody because you have to probably get into more debt in order to get them. And one thing that I like about what you said is a lot of people do not realize that their credit cards are like 20 something% interest. So if you do end up
right.
getting a HELOC or refinance your home and get that money and pay off the cards, now the questions that we have is how do we advise those people not to go back into that credit card debt? Because this is where most of the time they fail. They do get into debt consolidation, they do certain things, and then the bad spending habit goes back in effect in 2 years. And then here we are now with HELOC plus additional credit card debt.
I mean, it's like that person that's, just can't stop eating. You know what I mean? Like, how do you help that person that knows that they got to control their eating habits and you got to be more responsible with your eating? It's like, what do they say? It takes you 30 days or 60 days to learn a new habit if you do it consistently or whatever. I forget what the time frame is, that specific phrase. But yeah, it's just a new life. It's a lifestyle change. It's a mindset change that with consistency over a certain period that you can adapt.
It is. You're right. It's
So
a lifestyle change. And I think this is one of
so
the
e-
things.
so even
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I was going to say, even if you you take that HELOC out and you pay off those credit cards, and now you're at, I don't know, 8% or whatever that interest rate would be on the HELOC, you're much better. Hey, you're much better off. But like, how are you gonna look at that, right? You're gonna be like, oh, hey, well, I have so much lower interest on my debt now, so I have more flexibility to use that to spend on other stuff. No, that's not. It's like when you get a quadruple bypass or whatever, like
Right?
you're
That
gonna
doesn't
keep
mean you
eating,
go
like you're
back.
gonna yeah,
It's a lack of education sometimes on the financial side of things. And the same with the health. It's like, yes, we do have a lot of health guru that are telling us, but I feel like the education is not really right where it needs to be. So a lot of times people don't know how to spend money. They don't even understand what money is. Which me as a broker, I'm going to tell you when I'm coaching my agents, this is one of the things, the key thing we talk about is, hey, what is your relationship with money? Because a lot of us do not even pay attention that we have a relationship with money. The same way you do have a relationship with your family or with your kids or with your wife or husband, you do have a relationship with money. It could be a good relationship, a bad relationship, an unhealthy relationship too. And a lot of people don't understand that. So this is one of the questions I always ask. So in order to follow Marcel's advice, the very first question I would ask you as my followers, hey, what is your relationship with money? Before you make any decisions that involve investing, spending, what is your relationship? Are you somebody that is like love money to the greed level, or you're somebody that love it to the point where you save too much of it, or you love it to the point where you understand what it is and you meticulously spend your money the right way? Everybody have different relationship with money. What do you think, Marcel?
absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I guess just going back to that one thing that you had mentioned is, yeah, if you're deep in credit card debt, maybe see if you can adjust where you can just focus on your spent, like just try to get off the credit cards, try to just, whatever money you're coming in, you're using that to make your payments and just don't feel like you got to get some credit to make that next purchase. If it's not within your means, then don't go out and spend it, because a lot of people probably think about the money they're going to be making next year and they're kind of betting on that. And when you have an economy like the economy we're in right now, where we don't really know what next year is going to bring,
Nobody knows.
like,
Nobody knows.
and a lot of things are outside of your control. You can think that
Don't
next
spend
year,
money you have
uh,
not earned.
Yeah. Yeah. And you betting on next year, you're betting on you're going to make this much money next year, but you don't, at the end of the day, we don't really know what's going to happen with the economy. You don't know if you're going to be in a job next year. You know what I mean? So it's like, but that might not necessarily be the best approach either. So yeah,
The
just being
one
responsible and
story,
just trying to just go ahead.
sorry about that. The one story that I have about home equity that always touched me, and I always share it with everybody. A client called me and said, "Hey, Carl, I want you to help my parents out." So I went to meet the parents at their house. They have a villa up in Boynton Beach, and the villa's worth probably like 295. And when I got their statement, they owe $288,000 on it. And I'm like, "How long you guys been living here?" And they said like 27 years. I'm like, "Whoa, what happened?" They refinanced the property about 6 years ago. I guess one of the kids wanted something, and they did not think about the future before they do that. And now here they are, no jobs because they are retired. They making like both of them together was bringing about $2,800. The mortgage was 24. They have car insurance. They are retired, so they need Medicare expenses. And now it's becoming a big mess. And what I always tell everybody is be careful whenever you get into that age. What about, oh, refinance your home, take a HELOC. Like we said, what's your relationship with money? And just like Marcel said, what's tomorrow going to bring? You don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. And a lot of people make that decision on an emotional state of mind. And before you know it, it becomes a big financial issue. How do you maintain a healthy work-life balance, man? Talk to me.
Maintaining a healthy work-life balance, that's a good question. Well, when you're in our space and as a business owner knows or whatever, it's just a lot of work. So I think for me, it's just use my mornings effectively. So I'd like to get a good workout in
Me too.
and, like to push myself. Yeah, I'm more of a cardio guy. I don't really do that. I don't really do the weights, although I should do a little bit more. But yeah, I'm more of a cardio guy. I like the energy that I get in the mornings and the mood that it puts me in. Like I ran this morning and do it early, right? And that way you're done and you're able to prepare for the rest of your day. But yeah, that really helps me out, I guess, to get the right mindset because mindset is a pretty critical thing to set the right mood for the day. Some people drink their coffee, but running is my coffee. So yeah, I would say that. And then in the afternoons, I just try to explore a little bit about what's happening in the area and just talk to some of the locals in the community and that sort of thing. So yeah, I just try to, network and that sort
This
of thing too.
this is a realtor right here. Guys, if you're listening, listen what he said. He's gonna try to look for what's going on in the area. A lot of realtors, they don't understand that if you're not interested in your industry, if you're not interested in what's going on around you, you're not a realtor. You're just a guy selling houses. And to me, it's very important that people understand that a realtor is somebody that's seeking knowledge about the industry that they are involved. Like an example, if a restaurant is opening next to you, it involves real estate. So how do you not know about it? It's like this thing about being a realtor that always amazed me when agents, you ask them questions about their neighborhood, they're like, "Oh, I didn't know." How do you not know? That's your job. It's like a doctor saying they don't know what ibuprofen is. Like you
Yeah.
have to know.
Yeah.
So yes, it's very big on that.
Yeah.
Now, Marcel, we have a lot of sellers, a lot of owners that are listening to us. What is your approach when it comes to selling somebody's home?
What is my approach when
Yeah,
it comes to,
like
well, I think first and foremost is just to understand why are they selling? Like, what's their goals? What's their time frame? What are they looking to achieve? What are they looking to attain? Because all that depends on how they answer those questions. Will give you an insight as to, how you're going to price the home. You know what I mean? If they need to move tomorrow, there's some things that's happening and there's urgency. Obviously, they're going to get the price a little bit differently than if they have a little bit more time and they're trying to maximize the amount of money they're trying to make on the home. Obviously, the market also speaks to that as well. So it's you can try to
interesting.
maximize the how much money you're going to make on your house all you want, but you also got to understand where the market is. So you got to understand not just in general, like in your area. And, is it a single family house? Is it a condo? I mean, right now, those are completely different markets.
Different, different.
So, yeah. So single family, you're looking at a balanced market pretty much across South Florida right now. Yeah, I guess you're a little bit under 4.5 months of inventory, I guess. But you look at the condo markets, you're looking at about you're getting deeper into buyer territory. So it just kind of
That's
depends
right.
on
Yes.
a lot of things. So yeah.
I love the way he said you're like 4.5 months inventory. You see the tech guy just got in and get his numbers straight. I love that. It's and a lot of people don't understand how sometime your past career is just preparing you for the new one. A lot
Yeah.
of people
Oh,
don't
yeah.
understand that, and it's okay to go to change. It's okay. It's one of the hardest part into humanity is that change. And Marcel is like he told you, he left the security of a salary, a complete different job to come into real estate. And I'm sure it was not an easy decision, right, Marcel?
Uh, no, no, it really wasn't. To be frank, I think the hardest decision in my life was when I left that first job because you spent your undergrad, you spent 4 years of college and preparing, and then you've been working at this role for several years. You're just following whatever footsteps that you thought you needed to follow and whatever trajectory you needed to follow. But yeah, and to make that happen, and then to have the courage to be able to get out of that. That's definitely not an easy step. But to your point, I would say it wasn't a complete, you know, I think for me, it was some smooth transitions. Like, for example, I went from an engine, like designing semiconductors basically to selling them, right? So I was working for a distributor. And then from that, I went to cloud, basically technologies, working, implementing those out. And then from that, I moved over to IoT. And then from that, I got into homes, selling homes. So it looks like a huge shift, but there's like some logic, I guess, in that, in those
Yeah,
transitions.
I can see that. But you
Yeah.
only sell in Florida, right? You never like sold anywhere else?
Yeah, no, focused in Florida. I mean, I've been licensed in New York. I've been licensed in California, Connecticut, other states. But yeah, but right now my focus
You know,
is
I'm gonna
in
ask the
Florida.
question. How's the market? What's the difference between the people, the market between New York and Florida?
You said that you
Yeah,
said
the
or
people in the market,
the
like the clients you have in New York, the clients you have in Florida, the market itself, like how different it is.
yeah. Well, I would say it's a hard question to answer because right now the market that we're in right now is completely different than the market, even in Florida that we were in 6 months ago, right? A year ago.
That is
You know what I
true.
mean? And that's true for New York, that's true for California. So yeah, it's been a pretty drastic shift, I guess, these past few years.
Marcel, if anybody wants to contact you, where can they find you?
You can reach me at my website is RE as in real estate happens, HAPPENS.com. And then my email is just my first name, Marcel at rehappens.com. And
Awesome.
you can find all my contact information on there, social channel, all that good stuff.
Any particular story about a real estate transaction, anything that would actually help the people motivate them mindset wise, or a story for them to avoid?
Something that would help, I guess, is that, I think it's at the end of the day, if people are always wondering, everyone's trying to time the market. I think people make the mistake of trying to time the market, and it's like trying to time the stock market, right? Just when you can spend all day and all night trying to figure everything out, and you're going to be wrong. I mean, I remember in 2021, how many people like I would talk to people that they were so convinced you could not change their mind about this crash that was coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous. And I was just like, there's nothing. If you look at the inventory levels, if you look at just, I mean, sure, all this stuff that you hear on the news, on the negative news and the press and everything, but when you really look at the market, like there's nothing that really said that was screaming. When you look at supply and demand, and there's nothing that was saying like, how is that even going to happen? And so many people, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners missed out on that opportunity because they heard whatever the press was telling them and they missed some huge gains. And so I just say it's like, don't try to time it. Whatever works for you, it's going to work for you. If the market moves against you, you're in a home that you have a roof under your head, and that's the most important thing. And then whatever direction the market turns, and because you're going to have your ups and downs over the time of but the trajectory tends to be northbound. So even a lot of the people that lost money on 2008 crash, like if they would have held on to it, obviously you would have got that back, right? So it just as long as as long as it's a place that you're gonna be there, you're gonna be there for long term. You're not gonna be losing money on the rent money. You know what I mean? Like, there's just don't try to time it. Whatever works for you and for your timing and what's important to you, just go out and do it. I mean, I think my suggestion
Totally
on that.
agree with you. I would bring the 2008 story. I myself own a property. I bought that property back in 2005 for $470,000. And in 2009, of course, everybody knows market crash, everything. And then I'm trying to get a short sale done, or I'm trying to see if I can get a modification. And they appraised the property for $191,000. And I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. I'm just going to hold on. I rented the property. I'm like, I'm going to hold on. And today, this property is $785,000. So,
Yeah.
Marcel, you're right. People, you have to understand that the market always goes up. It's just like a heartbeat. It goes up and down, up and down. But if you're looking from one point in time to another point in time, usually 7 to 10 years, it still goes up. Therefore, if you have the ability to sell and buy, the ability to buy a property, don't say, let me wait. Don't say, oh, maybe it's going to crash. Nobody knows. Look at COVID. We thought like, hey, countries are locked, cities are locked. There's not supposed to be a way for a market to grow during a season like that. And look at what happened. It tripled. Nobody expected that. So yes, to me, it is, you are ready, do it today. Don't wait, because tomorrow is not yours.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you remember that rent money, right? Multiply your rent by 12, right? That's your cost of renting.
Yeah. Or
so
here's what I tell everybody. Yeah. You're renting, you're paying a mortgage. It's just not yours. And when you're done, you get out. That's just what it is. I think rent is supposed to be a necessary step in someone's life for a period of time. It cannot be a decision. Like I always take that example. I have an aunt of mine that lived in the same apartment for 17 years. Okay, 17 years. She, one, never believed she could afford to buy a house. Two, at one point, she realized that paying a mortgage was more expensive than paying the rent. And nobody could convince her until one day she decided, oh, I'm going to buy a house. And now she's the happiest person on earth because her house tripled in value. She's happy. She's going to retire great. And what I'm telling everybody is, don't be my aunt. If you're renting and you're capable, you contact somebody like Marcel and you're capable of buying a property, even if it's not your dream home, buy a property, because you're not stuck in it forever. You can always sell it and go buy the dream home. And a lot of people don't get that. So this is one of the advice that we always bring to the table is, if you're ready, do it, because tomorrow is not yours. Marcel, do you have any other thing that you would like to share with the crowd? Any advice, any stories?
No, I mean, I'm trying to think of something that comes to mind right away, but nothing that comes to mind right away.
All right. And everybody, this is how we end the episode today. Today, you've been watching Home Equity Secrets. Please subscribe to the podcast, because we have a lot more to teach you, a lot more advice, a lot more ways of you using your equity to secure your finances, to secure your future, to help pay for your children's school, and of course, your retirement. Marcel, my name is Carl Christian, and I would like to say thank you so much for coming into the podcast. We appreciate you, man.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for the opportunity. I enjoyed it, enjoyed meeting you, and looking forward to staying in touch.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning into Home Equity Secrets. I'm Carl Christian, and I hope you found today's episode insightful and inspiring. Remember, you can learn to earn how to set up your real estate portfolio to achieve financial freedom. I dedicate my life to helping homeowners like you unlock the potential of their homes in South Florida. Hit me up if you're in the area and let's chat. Please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. For more tips and updates, follow us on social media and visit our website. Thank you for listening.